Hello, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Garter Toss podcast. I'm Sydney, your host, and I'm your go-to girl for all things weddings and culture, inspo and download, to have and to hold until the end of the episode, do us part. I am coming at you on it's a hair wash day kind of vibe. I feel greasy. It is a Friday evening, a stormy Friday evening. I am just now sitting down to record this week's episode. So thank you for being patient with me as I have procrastinated the episode this week, but it is coming. So thank you, and thank you for listening if you're here. I really, really appreciate it. This episode is just going to be a yappy one. We're just going to sit here and chat about all the things that have been on my mind. The topic is going to be, we need to get off our phones, to put it succinctly. And I have lots to say about that, especially in regards to wedding planning and the industry and bridal and all of that. But yeah, short story is, we need to get off our phones. It has been quite the week for me. Did I have plenty of time to sit down and record this episode? Yes. And I still did not do it until right now. So that's what's been going on for me. It has just had job stuff going on. I have endometriosis, so I've been dealing with that this week as well. And yeah, so sorry about the late episode, but it is still coming nonetheless. And I just keep telling myself that something is better than nothing. So here we are. We're going to have a lot of fun together. This episode might be on the shorter side, but it's going to be a good one nonetheless. So thank you for being here once again. I also, earlier this week, saw a massive spider run across this couch, and I haven't wanted to sit on it since because I saw it run across and then it disappeared, and I haven't seen it since. So if you see a spider anywhere on this couch during this episode, if you're watching on YouTube, please don't tell me about it. Because I'd rather not think about that. But that's probably another reason I've been avoiding doing this. Okay, let's get right down to business. We need to get off our phones. I am talking to myself when I say all of this. You need to get off your phone. It is destroying our humanity. And when I genuinely take a step back and think about it, and think about the amount of time that I'm spending just staring at this magic little box in the palm of my hand, it is alarming to me. So here's your sign. If you're listening to this, delete TikTok, delete Instagram, get it off your phone. And I know that this is going to be really rich coming from somebody who is posting on a social platform and on social sites to try to get people to listen to me online. But if you're listening to this and you end up just turning it off and going for a walk, then I'm okay with that. Seriously. Delete everything off your phone. Take a week off of socials. I'm doing it too. It's gone. I've deleted it because I need a break, and I think we all need a break. Especially because we're reaching the end of summer, which is so sad, but it's the end of summer. And how many of us have done the summer things we wanted to this summer while the weather is still warm? This is all going to be a lot of ranting and a lot of rambling, all to the end of, I feel like I am genuinely just wasting my life away, and I don't want that, and I'm so sick and tired of it. So get off your phone, put it away, delete the socials. I'm doing the same thing because I need a break. I'm going insane. Especially too because I feel like lately the internet is just a hellscape. There is so much online that is just rage bait and anger inducing for so many people, and that's not everybody is that way and not all content is that way, but I do feel like the majority of things that we are consuming as a whole is just trying to get a rise out of people just because it gets more clicks and it gets more attention, which is so frustrating. But then there's also the other side of creators who are trying to post because they're being genuine about it, and then the negative energy of the internet eventually just finds them anyways, and the comment sections are so bad. It's the what about meism, it's the bean soup of it all. It's so exhausting, and every single comment section that I open, genuinely, there's always going to be somebody complaining about something, and it's starting to blow my mind. And because the more you become aware of it, the more obvious it is that there are just miserable people in the comment section for no reason. Like, I saw a video of a beautiful bride and a beautiful mother of the bride dress. Like, her video was about her wedding day and her mom's mother of the bride dress. And it was gorgeous, like the strapless blue floral gown, like floor length. And it was so pretty. And then, of course, in the comments, every other comment, there's somebody complaining like, no, that's just taking too much attention from the bride. Or, oh no, that's horrible. Like, this is such a bad idea. Like, what are we talking about? This was her wedding. Clearly, she chose the dress. Clearly, the bride approved of this dress. And that's just like one example. And maybe it's not even a good one. Like, it's just driving me crazy how every single video is chock full of like just miserable people who are looking for a reason to be upset about something. I saw another one of this bride who went out and sourced all of these vintage Tiffany lamps for her centerpieces at her wedding, like at the tablescapes, and they were so beautiful and so unique. I had never seen anything like that before. And then, of course, once again, you go to the comments and half the people are like, this is horrible. I don't like the way it clashes with the florals. You shouldn't have done that. Like, what are you talking about? Genuinely, what are we talking about? And same thing with like Emma Roberts, I think, is the actress who just got married, and she got her dress custom made with Monique Lullier, I think is how you say the designer. And it was beautiful. It's gorgeous. And I love watching all the videos they posted about it because they talked about how she very much wanted like this like ghost doll kind of vibe. And it was so perfect. And I loved her like lace veil headband moment. It was so cool. And then, of course, there's somebody in the comments that's like, oh, this is a horrible color on her. The designer should have picked a different color. Like, as if the bride didn't like purposefully pick that color specifically for the vibe that she wanted for her custom dress. Like, I don't know. Maybe this is all just a bunch of rambling about crazy internet behavior, but it really is kind of insane when you take a step back to think about it. And I'm not innocent of it because I'm the one scrolling and engaging with all these videos and the comments and everything. And I do understand that a lot of it is kind of like I mentioned a couple episodes ago. A lot of it is like the loud minority, because obviously I understand that most people are going to be normal about things and they understand the nuance of things, and they're not gonna, most people aren't gonna see a video of someone's wedding, for example, and like feel the need to take the time out of their day to comment something negative about somebody else's wedding. But it's just insane that the people who do that, like, go out of their way, take time out of their own day to say something horrible or rude or just like snotty at the very least, and comment it on someone else's video. And then, of course, there's all the bots that come in that just repeat all of the same stuff that get all of the engagement, which is obviously these negative comments. It's just all becoming a little bit too much. And I think that we all need a break from it. And I'm so serious about that. It's the end of summer. We are coming up on, there's 4 months left in the year. So take this as your sign to take a break, get outside, go on a walk, do that thing that you've been wanting to do but you keep putting off because you're just spending too much time scrolling, like me. I am genuinely horrified at the amount of time I have been spending just mindlessly scrolling away, and I know I'm not alone in that. I think that it's hard. I get it. Like, I really do get it, and I do think that it is kind of an addiction for a lot of people, and myself included, which is why I'm like, okay, it's time to be done. We need to reconnect with our humanity. We need to recenter. We need to be bored, because we're all just giving away our time, our precious life moments, and we're just giving them away to just stare at a little tiny screen. So yeah, all that to say is just the energy online has been really bad recently, and I want that to change, and I need a break from it. And I know I'm not alone in feeling that way. So consider this your sign to delete socials and go outside. That's what I'm going to try and do. And just, put your time and energy towards things that you have been wanting to do. I think about it too, and like, obviously, like, most of the time we're not going to be like engaging with all this negativity and these negative comments, like especially on like somebody else's video. Like, you're on TikTok, see a video, there's a million negative comments, whatever, just scroll away. But I still like in the terms of if this were real life and every single day I was going out to do this thing that I wanted to do that was fun, that was like a big gathering of people in real life. And every single time I went to do this thing, there was always just a handful of people who were so negative constantly. I would stop going to do that thing. Like if this was in person and people were genuinely acting like this in real life and saying these negative things constantly, I wouldn't want to be around that. I would avoid that. So yeah, that's just kind of how I've been thinking about all that lately. We need to get off our phones. It's getting bad. I could keep talking in circles about this, but yeah, that's the main gist of it. Also, and I don't know or don't think that anybody even listening to this would be part of the problem, but maybe take a step back and ask yourself, am I part of the problem? Am I somebody who comments these insane, weird, negative things on videos? Like, I genuinely cannot imagine any part of myself that would go out of my way to comment something negative on someone else's video. Like, it just blows me away what some people are willing to do. So don't be that person. Here's your sign. Take a step back. Reflect on your internet usage and the amount of time you spend looking down at your phone. Just reflect on it. Be a little bit honest with yourself. Is it a problem? Take this as an opportunity to start that new hobby. Check off those things that you've been wanting to do on your summertime bucket list. Go on a walk. Go on a date with your partner. Take a look at your 2026 mood board, your vision board. See what stuff you still have left, because there's still 4 months left in the year. It's not too late to revisit your New Year's goals and make it happen. And of course, I'm saying all of this absolutely acknowledging the fact that I'm not perfect at it. And clearly I have a problem, and I'm taking a step back from being on my phone so much. I went to Barnes & Noble like last week with some friends, and I got a new puzzle book. It's like, I love these little logic puzzle things. I don't even know how to explain it, but they're just like you get a bunch of clues, a bunch of hints, and then you have to solve this logic puzzle based on the clues you have. I find it really entertaining, and I have been addicted to doing my puzzle book since deleting TikTok off my phone. So go check out a book from your library, go get a puzzle book, play some Sudoku, embrace your inner old woman. I think it will do a lot of us a lot of good to take a step back from technology and from overconsumption and from this constant stimulation to just be a little bit bored sometimes and to reconnect with our souls. Because I think, speaking for myself, but also I know I'm not alone, I think we could all really benefit from that. I'll stop talking about this like generally, but clearly I feel a lot about it because I just don't want to waste my time, don't want to waste my life away staring at a little tiny screen. Yeah, I'm going to stop it there before I keep going. And what does any of this have anything to do at all with weddings? You may be asking. Well, let me tell you, because I'm going to go into it. I think these days, and this of course is going to be an overgeneralization, it's not going to apply to every situation, but I think more often couples and brides who are wedding planning are so overwhelmed just because of the pure amount of content that they are constantly taking in surrounding weddings. And especially too because our algorithms are very much curated to us and what we're looking for and what we're looking at. So if you're in wedding planning mode, then a lot of your algorithm is going to be wedding catered and wedding centered, which is great. And it can be super, super helpful. This is not to like completely disparage it forever and ever. I do think that there are a lot of good things that come out of social media and these beautiful ideas and inspiration, especially for someone who is wedding planning. But if you're just jumping into it, like right off the bat, straight to Pinterest, straight to TikTok, as soon as you get engaged and start trying to plan things, you're just going to be so overwhelmed because there are literally endless possibilities. And it's going to be very, very difficult and only increase your stress more to just start consuming even more. This is all going to be like kind of elaborating more on what I talked about in last week's episode with Micah. It was like the 5 things that you need to do as soon as you get engaged. And her step 4 was to sit down and just talk about your wedding overall in general with your partner before you actually start booking your wedding tours and start booking venues and like actually start jumping into all of it. So this is kind of going to be a big elaboration on that, in saying don't go to your phone first when you start planning your wedding. I think this was actually also mentioned on a recent What We Said podcast episode. They do like their advice column, and one of them was asking for advice about wedding planning, because the person that wrote in is like, I'm so overwhelmed. There's just so much online and I don't even know where to start. Like, I don't know what to pick. And speaking for myself, I think a lot of the problem too is like feeling like there's so much to do, and if I pick one thing, that it's just gonna like cut me off from other great ideas, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like a lot of people worry about, like, obviously they want their wedding to be perfect, and so that kind of turns into more of a problem than a leaning into what you really love kind of a thing, just because, again, there's so much out there that it can feel like it's hard to just pick one thing and know for sure that it's the one perfect thing for your wedding. So that can become super, super stressful. And so back to the What We Said episode, the person asking for advice, I really liked that this was brought up, because JC, one of the hosts, her answer was to get inspiration from real life magazines. Go find a magazine, like cut it out. It was basically along those lines. And I was already thinking about the same thing when that episode came out, because again, like, it's just so much. It's impossible to even know where to start, and it's so easy to feel so overwhelmed. So I liked her advice of go find a real magazine and look through that. Find a vintage magazine, go to the thrift store and see what you can find there, books, pictures. Like, there is so much physical inspiration around you that can be a really good place to start, that isn't so overwhelming, and that isn't just, again, feeding into this insane algorithm that is running our lives. I actually, too, this is kind of a side note too. Last week I went through my parents' wedding album, and it was a lot of fun, because I haven't done that in like years and years and years. I was a little kid last time I looked at all their wedding photos and stuff. So that's, again, just another example of something you can do to look for a starting point for wedding planning inspiration. Like, look at your parents' wedding photos and see what they did. What colors did they use and why? And talk to your mom about her wedding dress shopping experience. And like, it's just these real life examples of real people in your life with physical pictures to look at for inspiration for your wedding day. So all of this to say, start when you sit down to actually do your wedding planning. And what I mean by like elaborating and expounding upon what I talked about in last week's episode with Micah is when you sit down to actually start planning your wedding, don't start with your phone. Don't go straight to Pinterest. You can obviously do that later, and it's going to be really helpful later once you actually have a foundation. Hopefully this makes sense. So here's what you're going to do. When you get engaged, if you are someone who is planning a wedding, whether you already got engaged or you know you're about to get engaged, and you're like, okay, we're going to sit down and we're going to start planning our wedding, you are going to make a date night around it. And your first step is going to be, you're going to lock your phone in the other room, and your partner is going to lock their phone in the other room. You can open a bottle of wine, and you're going to plan for 2 to 3 hours, and you're just going to sit down and you're going to talk about your wedding with your partner, and you are going to go over absolutely everything you can possibly think of that you want to happen or that you want to plan around for your wedding day. So grab a notebook and pencil or pen, because you're going to need this to write down ideas, and you're going to need this to talk about stuff. Obviously, you're probably going to be going into this already like having seen a lot of wedding content online and seen a lot of other wedding ideas from other people on social media. And that's okay. Like, it's not going to be avoided, and it's probably even going to help in this situation. But in this instance specifically, you're not going to use your phone. You are literally just going to sit down for 2 to 3 hours and brain dump everything with your partner. And it's honestly really, really fun. This isn't like meant to be some like horrible, daunting thing. Like, this is supposed to be a fun thing, and it's a date night. You can grab dinner and just take this time to sit down with your partner and talk about your dream wedding, what you would like to happen, what your partner would like to happen. And this is where you bring up like, okay, we can start talking about wedding colors. We can start talking about where we want to get married. Do we want to do it here? Maybe your partner's from another state and you're from another state as well. Like, maybe you could talk about like, maybe we can get married where you're from or where I'm from, or maybe we'll elope, or maybe we'll do a destination wedding, or, talk about where. You can start talking about colors. You can talk about florals. You could ask your partner what they would want to wear for their wedding outfit. You could talk about bridal parties, like who would be your bridesmaids and groomsmen, stuff like that. And again, all of this is just going to be lay it all out there, brain dump absolutely everything. And it's where you really start to get on the same page with your partner about your wedding day. And moving forward, it is going to be so much easier to actually plan your wedding after you do this, because after all of this, you have it all written down and you have these great ideas, and you can chat about, oh, like my partner really wants, like it's really important to my fiance that we have special toasts from each of our parents. So we need to make sure that when we're planning our timeline that we make time for that, either at the wedding dinner or the rehearsal dinner, like stuff like that. Because once you both know that and you both tell each other what you maybe expect out of your wedding day or what you have always wanted or planned on for your wedding day, once you've talked about that with each other, it is just going to make everything else so much easier, because you already know, oh, like my partner said they really, really wanted to have blue in their wedding colors because their mom had blue in their wedding colors and they had hydrangeas, and I think that would be a really fun thing to incorporate into our wedding day, like stuff like that. And then it's going to be easier to share that with your vendors. It's going to be easier to keep in mind when other decisions and other planning things come along throughout the process. And again, like I said, it's so much fun. It really is a great opportunity to just spend time one-on-one with your partner, not with anybody else, not any planners, not any parents, just before you even do anything, and just daydream together about what your dream wedding day would look like. And you can even talk about, okay, what would it look like if we had an unlimited budget? Like how could we make that happen? Like obviously not everyone's going to have an unlimited budget, but it's fun to kind of daydream about that. And then maybe you have 10 things that would happen if you had $1 million wedding budget. And then you're like, okay, obviously that's not going to happen. But at the end of the day, these 2 things out of those 10 are going to be really, really important to us. So that's what we're going to carry through from this fun little wedding planning date night. And we'll carry that through and make it happen on our wedding day. And all of this to say, like, doing it without the distraction of your phone alone, but without, like, immediately going to your phone and going to Pinterest to look for, like, inspiration and ideas. Again, that will come later and that'll be really helpful later. But right now in this moment, it's literally just your job to sit there and talk about it and figure out what's important to you and figure out how to make your dream wedding and your partner's dream wedding come to life. Like, because really, that's what you're celebrating, is your love story. So how can you take moments of your love story with this person who you love so much that you are deciding to spend your entire life with? How can you take moments from your love for them and translate that into the most beautiful, magical wedding day of your dreams? And that can be through, wearing your mom's veil down the aisle. That can be deciding to cater a taco truck at your wedding reception because your first date was at a taco stand. Like things like that when you sit down and talk about it with your partner and with your fiance, that have so much more meaning because both of you sit down and talk about it and decide, rather than just like looking up, wedding reception food ideas, which again, there's nothing wrong with that. And there's probably going to be different aspects of your wedding that you are going to maybe have to go look at other inspiration because you just have no idea where to start. But having, again, that foundation and talking about what's most important to you and your partner in this wedding day that you're both going to share and celebrate for the rest of your lives is going to make all the difference in wedding planning. And hopefully, at the start of it all, make it so much less stressful and less overwhelming than it should be. So that's your assignment. If you're listening to this and you are planning a wedding or about to be planning a wedding, or maybe planning a wedding years and years from now in the future, that is going to be your assignment, is to set aside 2 to 3 hours with your partner, make a date night out of it, and just lock your phones away and yap about your wedding. And it's going to be so much fun. It's just, I really think it's so much fun. It's such a fun thing to do, and just get excited and be in that excited once in a lifetime moment of your life and talk about it with your partner. It's especially fun too, kind of like Micah said last week, if you're if you just got engaged, you really gotta lean into that and embrace it and embrace the excitement and the joy and the, oh my God, we're getting married, and just talk about it and be excited about it. That is absolutely a requirement for, and I think should be a requirement for anybody planning their wedding, is to have a brainstorm sesh, we could call it, or like an initial no outside sources wedding planning brain dump with your partner. Let's see, what are some other things that you can talk about in this? Let's see, obviously you want to talk about location. You probably are going to want to talk about a date, like, okay, are we going to get married in the summer? Are we going to wait till fall? Or is it going to be this year? Is it going to be next year? Is it going to be 2 years from now? Stuff like that. Colors, bridal party. Do you want to have a small wedding? Do you want to have a big wedding? You can start talking about, okay, well, we have to invite at least, these 10 people, and then you have to invite at least these 12 people. Do we want to just keep it at that and cap it and have a small wedding? Or do we want to invite, more people? Is it important that we have a dance party, or are you someone who doesn't really like dance parties and like having big moments like that? And you can talk about music. Do we want to have, a live harpist or a live violinist as we're walking down the aisle? Or are we okay with the DJ MC being the one who plays our curated playlist? Stuff like that. I also think too, in this magic little date night that you're going to be having as you plan your wedding, it's really, really important to talk about with your partner how you want to feel on your wedding day. So like you could say, okay, my most important top priority is that I want to feel relaxed and I want to feel peaceful on my wedding day. And you can talk about that with your partner and say, we can make that happen by making sure that the getting ready playlist is relaxing and that I have time. I don't have to wake up early and I don't have to feel like I'm being super rushed on my wedding day, like stuff like that. And then maybe your partner's priority can be, I just want to make sure that everybody I love is there and that everybody I love is spending such a special moment with me. And so you can really talk about those moments with each other and talk about each other's priorities and how you both really want to feel on that day and how that might look through either your timeline or the guest list or even the catering list, like the catering menu. What kind of food do you want to have on your wedding day and why? Are you going to go for something sentimental, or are you both just really good foodies and so your priority is going to be finding a local caterer or catering from one of your favorite local restaurants that is just absolutely amazing? Or is that something that you're like, I could go either way about, we'll just any generic meal will do. It's important that you talk about these things with your partner and that you both understand where each other are at. Let's see, what are some other really good starting points for wedding planning? I would say talk about maybe, are you going to have a rehearsal dinner? What would that rehearsal dinner look like? And what would you want to happen there versus at the wedding? And how are you going to split that up? Do you want that to also be a welcome party if you're going to have a big destination wedding, or would you rather have it like just immediately family? You can also, of course, bring up budget and say, like, I would love to prioritize great florals and buying a beautiful wedding gown and having a great photographer. And then you can talk about what your top 3 priorities are with your partner and see if maybe they have different ones and see where they match up or where they differ, and kind of start making that priorities list as you go. And then that way moving forward how to organize your budget and talk about what you reasonably can spend on a wedding and what you're willing to spend on a wedding and things like that. It's also a great time to start talking about who you would want to officiate your wedding. If you're going to have a ring ceremony, stuff like that, who would you want to be the one to pronounce you married? Or who do you want to be the one to walk you down the aisle? Or are we going to have flower girls and a ring bearer, or are we going to have a child-free wedding? You can also maybe bring up, at this point, like I said, you're probably going to be going into it with having already seen certain ideas and inspiration from other people's weddings online and social media, stuff like that. You can also bring those up and say, I saw somebody do a tiramisu champagne tower. Instead of a champagne tower, it was a bunch of little tiramisu in these cute little martini glasses. And I love tiramisu and I think it is so chic, and I would just absolutely love to have that as a dessert at our wedding. That's where you can start bringing in those ideas that you've already had without immediately, like I said, just turning to your phone and then just scrolling endlessly and trying to both individually like be on your phones and try and show, and then again it just becomes super overwhelming. Let's see what else. You could talk about a little bit about timeline. Like, do you want to get up and go on a walk together on your wedding day, or do you want to not see each other before you walk down the aisle, sort of a thing. You could talk about what time of day you want to have the ceremony. Do you want it to go super late, your reception? Do you want it to go super late into the night? Do you want to have an after party? Do you want to have a morning after brunch with all your friends and family? Like, some people do that before they go on their honeymoon and stuff like that. You can also talk about where you'd like to go on your honeymoon and start maybe planning for that and looking for ideas. The possibilities are literally endless. And I promise you, once you just sit down and are talking face to face with your partner and talking about wedding planning, you're going to be so excited that it's just going to come so naturally to you, you know, because you're talking about this celebration again with this person that you love so much, and you're both going to be so excited that it's just going to be easy to talk about this day and talk about what you would like to happen. And even if you don't actually solidify any of those details, at the very least you can say, we talked about it, we sat down, we really want to make sure that A, B, and C happen, and then anything else that happens after that is just going to be extra. And it's just going to be an extra fun surprise for each of us, as long as, you know, those main priorities happen for us. So yeah, there you have it. There's that. There's your date night, your next date night planned for you. Again, like I said, it's fun to have like a notebook and a pen to write down all these ideas and like make lists of the must-haves and the brainstorms, just all the things. It's so memorable. Now you have a literal keepsake of such a wonderful moment written down in this notebook that you can keep forever and ever and be like, oh, remember this? Remember when we started wedding planning and we thought we were going to have, you know, peacocks at our wedding, you know, I don't know, something like that. And it's just a really fun way to connect with your fiancé or future fiancé. And I think should be a requirement for everybody who wedding plans, is to just shut everything else out and sit down and just talk about it with nothing else and no one else. Hopefully, in me just yammering on and on about this, hopefully at least some of that even makes sense. Hopefully it's something that you can genuinely look forward to and get excited about. I mean, who isn't excited to get married, you know? And if you're not excited, then maybe this is not the one. Maybe this person isn't the one for you, but that's ultimately for you to decide. That was a very long-winded way of me just saying, yeah, sit down and talk about it before you reach for your phones. Okay, this leads me to the next thing that I think should be an absolute requirement for everybody who's planning a wedding, which is hosting a PowerPoint night with all of your friends, where the assignment is, okay, everybody has to plan my wedding, or how you would plan my wedding for me, and then present it to everybody else at this PowerPoint night. I actually did something like this a couple weeks ago with my friend who's getting married, and it was so much fun to, not only for myself as someone who was like, okay, here's what I would do for her wedding, and here's how I'd plan it, and here's why. It was so much fun to be able to do that and to present it to her and give my reasons for why I chose the colors and the dress inspiration and the florals, stuff like that, but also to see what everybody else had planned and why, and how it maybe differed from mine, or how some of it might have been the same. And originally it started because she, again, was just feeling so overwhelmed and so stressed about different wedding planning details that she was just genuinely like, I need help. And so this was our way of coming together to help her plan certain aspects. And she told us, like, I really need help finding dress inspiration, you know, color ideas, maybe some ceremony ideas. She specifically said that she didn't want it to be like a super traditional ceremony. And so we came into it knowing that, with different ideas for either like, you know, ceremony seating or different kinds of ceremonies that aren't just your typical, you know, do you take so-and-so to be your lawfully wedded wife sort of a thing, and just kind of how to incorporate details like that. And of course, we all know and love the bride so much. And as her friends, we are like, okay, we know these details about her and what's important to her. And so as her friend, I'm able to go in and say, here's how I think you would enjoy your ceremony, or here's how I think that you should do your florals, or here's how, you know, if I was doing it for you, here's what I would do, because I know what you like and your styles and tastes. So again, it was just, it was so much fun. I loved hearing everybody else's ideas, and I was like, wow, I need to have the same congregation of people together to plan my wedding, to represent what they think my wedding should be, because they had so many good ideas that I never ever would have even thought of. And even if like not everybody even brought a presentation, like other people just brought like different ideas, and they wrote them down in a journal and said, okay, here's what I think you should do, and here's some inspiration from, you know, my life or from my friendship with this person who is getting married. So I think that should be the new requirement, is to have a PowerPoint night with all your friends, and they can be whoever's going to be your bridesmaids. It can just be friends who are and aren't going to be your bridesmaids. It can be, you know, family. It can be like literally, again, you can do whatever you want because you're in charge. This is your wedding. So I just think that it should be the new tradition that as soon as somebody gets engaged, everybody's like, hey, get your PowerPoints ready and plan the wedding as you think it should be done, and the person getting married or the bride can take whatever inspiration they want from it, and they can leave everything else behind. Because at the end of the day, like, obviously they're going to do what they want to do, but it's so much fun and helpful, again, to see other people's interpretations of what they think your wedding would be, or the details they would choose based on their relationship with you. And it's fun to see that and to maybe take that and be like, yeah, I actually think I would do that for my wedding. That's a great idea. And you never would have thought of that idea or gotten that idea if you hadn't have heard it from your friend. So here's your sign. Like I said, plan the date night with your partner and then plan the PowerPoint night with all of your friends. It's so much fun. I also actually saw somebody else do this on probably like TikTok, as I just spent this whole episode talking about how, you know, to get off TikTok. But I think I saw a video around the same time that we did it for my friend who's getting married. I also saw a video of somebody else doing like the same thing of like, I hosted a PowerPoint night with all my friends, and their assignment, was to just plan my wedding for me and choose the colors, choose the dress, the flowers, the venue, everything, and to just see what came of it. When we did it, it was super fun too, because the bride, she said it was super helpful and that it actually really helped her relieve a lot of the stress and a lot of the problems she was having, and also gave her some inspiration and some ideas for what to do. I actually, not to do my own horn here, I'm joking, but I had put on my slides for her like to use calla lilies. I really, really like the dark red calla lilies. She told me, she's like, oh, I actually never really like loved those until I saw them on my slides. And she was like, I actually think I might do those now for my wedding. And so I was like, oh, like, I'm so glad, you know, like I'm genuinely so happy that just a small detail like that could help, or that would even make its way into her wedding, for example. So that's the new tradition, aside from the brain dump date night, the no phone brain dump date night. The next tradition to start is the PowerPoint night. Those are your two assignments for the newly engaged or the soon to be engaged, or the long time ago engaged, but you still want to partake in the fun traditions. So it's also a great idea to suggest these to your friends. It maybe if you're not engaged, or maybe you're already married, but you know somebody else who is getting married soon. Say, hey, I'm going to host a PowerPoint night for you, and everybody has to come and plan your wedding for you so you can get fun ideas. And again, just revel in the excitement and lean into the bridal era. It's so much fun, and it's so much fun to get your friends involved and to talk about it with your partner. I also honestly, like, if I were to do something like that, like this PowerPoint night, I would make my partner come with me, and I would make his friends come too. And I think, it could just be so fun. Maybe it could even be like like an engagement party activity or something. If you do want to have an engagement party or something of the sorts, maybe it can be like the after party or something. I don't know. Anyways, those are my very, very long-winded, probably a bit too drawn out rants for today. Yeah, just two new must-do wedding planning traditions for you to add to your to-do list that will hopefully relieve some stress off of your to-do list. All right, I think that's going to be the end of the episode today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that anything I said was even coherent and at the very least helpful. Yeah, I just hope that these are some good ideas and that you could get some inspiration and felt inspired to, like me, put your phone away a little bit more frequently. Get off of your phone a little bit, lean into, what's the like trendy thing, the analog. Embrace the analog for your wedding planning era with your friends and with your partner. And yeah, look for magazines and look for books. Go to your local thrift store, go to your local library and make some copies. There's a lot of ways to find wedding inspiration all around you that you may not find online. I hope you are having a wonderful, wonderful weekend if you're listening to this on a weekend or a weekday, if you're listening on your way to work or anything like that. Anyways, thank you so much for listening. Seriously, especially for episodes like this where I just sit and yap at you with absolutely no structure or brain power, clearly. Yeah, thanks for being here. If you like what you hear, I would love if you could leave a 5-star review and a rating for me. It'd be so helpful. And maybe share the episode with someone you know who is getting married soon or getting engaged soon. I would also really appreciate that. And if you're not already, go ahead and follow me on Spotify or on Apple or anywhere you get your podcasts. And I will see you next week. I hope you have the most wonderful time until then. Okay, love you, bye!